Today we are talking about probably the only clan that actually deserves respect, the only clan that has a brain, and the only clan that has ever had good logistics.
Smoked Jaguar. Oh.
No, they're gone. Well, I mean, technically their need is zero, their production is zero, everything is zero, so I guess technically they have met their logistical needs, but like, I don't know if that's a good metric to judge by. We're not talking about the Smoked Jaguars. These are the only clanners that are smart. They're the only ones that aren't awful. They've got good policies, good ideas, good logistics, all of that. It is truly beautiful. And so, of course, every other clan got together to kill them.
They were creating the perfect nation state that couldn't be allowed. Something parallels to the the normal world. And
yeah, this is BattleTech, idiot. Nobody's allowed to have nice things, just like real life. Which sucks, because, you know, it's arguably one of the most fun topics around the clans, and they are arguably the funniest of the clans, just from the stuff they do. We've got tragedy, comedy, mystery, and a legacy of badassery that's really only rivaled by some of the most fantastical factions in the setting, like the Black Watch, Snord's Irregulars, or the good Kerensky, the one that killed Fat Genghis Khan.
I'm just gonna say, you read off that list like you were reading off a preview on a DVD from like 2008 or something.
What?
You've never seen like those intros on the DVDs that tried to get you to buy other movies from them?
Oh, like the advertisement, like on
yes,
the
yes,
shit.
on the actual DVD.
I'm gonna be real with you. It has been so long since I've bought a physical movie. Like I don't even.
I don't either. I just remember watching them on car rides back when I was younger. It sounded exactly like the read you just had.
Oh my god. Okay, well, I'll let people make jokes about that in the comments, but whatever. Today we're talking about Clan Wolverine, the only clan that ever stood up to Nicholas Kerensky and told the hypocritical Nepo baby to sit on it and rotate.
I can't believe Hugh Jackman's here.
Funnily enough, also the only clan that had good logistics, which might be what actually killed them. Correction, that is what actually killed them. The technicals about how they got those good logistics, basically what caused their downfall. Their eventual fate is also shrouded in mystery, quote unquote, a mystery about as subtle as the sun, but we'll get to that. You ready to talk about Wolverine, Steve?
Yeah, I just want to know what Hugh Jackman has to do with this universe.
Pissed off, angry, short, punches way above their weight, very, very, very hard to kill. Wolverines, basically the same thing. It's fine. Anyways, before we get into things, introductions. Generic greetings and welcome to Science and Sanity, a channel dedicated to bringing my love of science fiction in all of its glory and humor to you, the viewer. Along for the ride is my co-host and very willing content minion, Steve. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Steve.
Nothing else? You don't gotta have anything else to add? It's a Members' Choice video. You gotta pretend to be excited. Come on.
It's the only videos we do these days. I don't know what's so special about it. I don't think we've recorded a non-Members' Choice video in,
We've only done like 3 videos. Shut up.
As I said, it's the only thing we do anymore.
Okay, so our story starts where all stories in BattleTech do. Some pompous, self-important, probably mentally deficient politician makes a mistake. The mistake being the clans.
That's just all stories anywhere, not BattleTech specific.
Okay, yeah, but BattleTech is like Space Game of Thrones. Most of the events are basically stupid nobles that do really stupid things, and then everybody else gets to suffer for it.
And they all win really stupid prizes.
The mistake, though, in this case being the clans in general, and the person making it being the bad Kerensky, Nicholas, the shitty second son to the late, great Alexander Kerensky. We are not going to go too far into things, because we have a 3-parter on all of this way back, like some of the channel's first videos. They suck, by the way, don't go looking for them. But suffice it to say, the clans were brought about by Nicholas after the Second Exodus. The Second Exodus being another Exodus, even farther into uncharted space after things started devolving into civil wars between the various ethnic groups of the SLDF in exile. Nicholas's solution to the infighting of the Inner Sphere and humanity's oldest and most beloved friend, war, was to create even more of it, restructuring his followers into extremely strict hierarchies and caste systems that would come to dominate clan culture. He also elevated warrior status to the most prized among all, and forbid social mobility, because just like in real life, if you want a society to be stable, you build it like a pyramid with as many oppressed people on the bottom as you can. This will in no way come back to bite the clans in the ass. I promise.
No chance. No chance.
Ignore the rebellion of the clan scientist caste, and ignore the dark caste of raiders and criminals, and the endless raiding of the dispossessed, and all of the constant friction in all of clan society. These things are purely secondary, I promise. Not at all caused by the fundamental structure of their society.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
There's an enormous amount of war in Ba Sing Se. The clans never stop fighting.
Nope, there's no war. Nothing happened.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's no war.
Don't make me send you to Lake Laogai here.
Dude, with how this story ends up going, Lake Laogai in this context is just a nuke. They're just going to nuke you.
Well, very off topic. Fuck the new Avatar series on Netflix.
I have not heard or seen anything about it. Entirely irrelevant to me. As far as I'm concerned, the only Avatar is the original cartoon and that one movie with the weird blue people.
We do not recognize the second or third movies of that, correct?
Yeah. But, yeah, so Nicholas's great solution to division, ethnic hatred, greed, and tribalism was to make an extremely tribalistic, culturally divided caste society with no social mobility. He was not a smart man. In fact, he was profoundly brain damaged. Legitimately as well, because on his home world of Eden, there was an infection that was, like, endemic. Like, it killed so many people. And even if you did survive it, it caused severe damage to your brain through swelling and cell death. So even the people who contracted it and survived ended up being a little more well done than they probably should have been. Somehow, according to Nicholas's own diary and his own source of Trust Me Bro, he managed to survive perfectly unscathed and entirely competent.
Not important.
Dude was basically missing his prefrontal cortex, and that's where the rest of the clans got the soup can dent from. Frankly, the whole idea of, like, clan society is incredibly stupid. I genuinely have to wonder what universe Nicholas was in to think that rebuilding one of the worst examples of human social organization was gonna fix anything. Well, I mean, he did throw like a few dashes of socialism in there, so I don't know, I guess that evens out the soup he was making. There are other factions that I think have got this figured out forever ago, like Canopus and the magistrate. I cannot say this. Canopus.
The magistrate of Canopus.
I give up.
Magistration?
The magician of Canopus got this figured out years ago. Government issue weed rations, munchies, free vouchers to the Cat Girl Strip Club. Way better way of keeping everybody in your society chill and united. Okay.
Excuse me. The what club?
The Cat Girl Strip Club.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to confirm I heard that correctly.
Yeah, no, that's canon. That's 100% real.
Okay, thanks. I hate it here.
Dude, it gets so much worse. You dig into Canopus even a little bit, and you're like, wow,
I remember a very little bit from the big overview video, and don't ask me how the fuck I remember that. It was like 2.5 years ago now.
Yeah, again, memory holing. The memories are there. You just need something to remind you of them, otherwise they stay buried.
I wish it would have.
Yeah, but screw it. Here we are. We're back on the eugenics and tyranny grind set. Good old of humanity. If you're not oppressing the lessers, are you really building a society? Anyways, the clans had a rather authoritarian and militaristic bent from minute one, and while all the various cons of the original 20 clans agreed to follow and work within this new framework, many thought that things were inefficient or could be done better. No one dared speak out against Supreme Leader Ilkhan Nicholas, though, except for one, which, not a great idea. That being Clan Wolverine, led by Sarah McEvedy. The entire personality of the Wolverine was adopted in full force by this clan and their warriors and their society as a whole, mainly being the way that Wolverines fear no man nor God and would happily try to fight both at the same time for fun. Clan Wolverine was by far the most stalwart and headstrong of all the clans during this early era of their history, while most of the rest were essentially just following along with whatever Nicholas Kerensky wanted, as well as trying to suck up to him like only the most prolific brown-nosers would. Clan Wolverine, though, rapidly started making their own decisions, picking their own battles, and pushing back against the general status quo. And while that sounds bad, it's important to note that the early clans also had a fairly meritocratic bent to them. Thus the whole trial by combat thing. You want something because you think you'd make better use of it, you fight for it and prove that you're the best and you deserve it. You get off there and go kill each other. You want to do something the entirety of the other clans don't, you can, and you can force all of society to go along with you. You just need to kill everyone that tells you not to. So,
Sound. Very, very sound plan.
Very, very sound cultural institution there. Good old trial of refusal. I will fight everybody and win and force everybody to go along with me. And Clan Wolverine took to these mandates with gusto. Now, the entire point of the clans militarily was to retake the Pentagon worlds, those being the 5 initial worlds settled by the SLDF in exile after the Great Exodus. Those 5 worlds since having fallen into civil war and brutal factionalism. Something the Capellans caused it. That's basically the only explanation you need. Anyways, though, the Wolverines, alongside clans Novacat, Mongoose, and Snowraven, were assigned to the world of Cersei, a desert hellhole of a world with 3 major factions on it. The Elite, which is just a remarkably arrogant name, a faction of warriors and militaristic fanatics. They'll be important in a minute. The Empire of Hidalgo, a brutal theocratic state that practiced mass killings, sacrifices, and atrocities as a matter of daily recourse, because we're on a desert planet. You just have to do that.
In your contract as being a desert planet, you must have these things.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a nice desert planet in science fiction. Every single one of them is ass. Anyways, and the last one, my personal favorite, the Sand Empire, which is a great name. Anakin Skywalker would hate this place. Now, from their description, I've always kind of imagined the Sand Empire is just like hot Finland, circa Soviet invasion 1939, and instead of rocks and trees and snow to hide behind and snipe at the Soviets, it's cactuses and rocks and sand to snipe at clan forces before retreating. It's sand fins, essentially.
Hot Finland is crazy work.
Unfortunately, most of the Sand Empire relied... that name is so stupid. I can barely take this seriously. Unfortunately, most of the Sand Empire relied on a few major oases and water pumping stations in the deep desert, which the clans just landed on, captured, and were like, okay, so what do we do now? And the Sand Empire looked at that and kind of just went, shit, good point, what do we do now? And then surrender came shortly after, because when you're living on a planet the equivalent of Arrakis and your enemy takes just all of your water, you're like, well, I guess we die. Or surrender, so they chose to surrender.
Not very honorable of them. They should have chose to die.
That's not the honorable faction. The quote-unquote honorable faction are the Elite, which their name makes it all the funnier how they end up going out. But the Empire of Hidalgo comes first, and they fell after several months of brutal fighting. The clans were unwilling, because of their honorable battle doctrine of Zelbringen, to just mass murder their way through civilian infrastructure, so the Hidalgo forces were able to stall them for quite some time and draw things out into a murderously brutal war. But the Elite, the last major faction on the world in opposition to the clans, basically got punked by the Wolverines. Because the Elite were a faction of honor-bound warrior fanatics, they had similar honor dueling and personal combat tendencies as the clan, even being described by the clans as their shadow or mirror brothers. So what the Wolverines did once they reached the main stronghold of the Elite, figuring that it would be funny, was to set up outside of their effective return fire range with basically the biggest artillery they could find and start poking them. It wasn't a serious artillery bombardment, just, every now and again some poor bastard in his foxhole got completely eviscerated or just ceased to exist, followed by laughing, mocking, and insults over the open comm frequencies from Clan Wolverine members that were just like chilling out on the sand with beach chairs and beers and just having a great time obliterating them. And the Wolverines just kept doing this until the Elite got so irrationally mad and so pissed that they weren't getting their honorable duel in the sand that their commander rallied basically everybody they had and charged Clan Wolverine forces over open, unprotected, flat desert, only to realize Clan Wolverine had pre-sighted the entire expanse of desert between them and was laying in wait with everything they had. A mech behind every rock, behind every sand dune, behind every cactus, really. And then caught between heavy artillery and a precise mech assault, the Elite was obliterated. Like, their entire fighting force that they had left, like all of it, was gone in 11 minutes flat. The war was over in 11 minutes of actual fighting.
Damn, not even the Veneto? Matapan. Whatever that Italian battleship was.
What?
What was the Italian battleship at Matapan? I think it was the Vittorio Veneto.
I can look it up for you right now. It survived that battle, so...
What was it then? It was one of the cruisers. I had the Veneto, right? That it was there.
It was there, it just didn't sink there.
Yeah. Was it the Pola?
I am not reading this massive Wikipedia article to find out. You can do that on your own time.
Absolutely real.
I'm gonna leave this in. We're baiting this. This is actually not us being stupid. This is actually a genius bait by Steve, because by quote unquote intentionally getting this wrong, tons of people and history nerds are gonna comment down below and correct us. This was actually a genius way to farm engagement.
You said the quiet part out loud.
So yeah, the Wolverines waited outside the elite's cities for a few days doing shitty meme dances and screaming 6-7 over the radio until the elite lost their minds, then obliterated them in 11 minutes flat.
Were they doing the Fortnite dance, holding up the L over on their forehead? That's the only thing I can imagine when you said that.
I mean, to be perfectly fair, if I had to listen to that for several days, I'd probably lose my mind and just walk out to my death as well. To be honest here, though, like, this is a really, really good application of the clan's general philosophy of war. They're really big on honorable combat and not causing extra damage and stuff. Like, don't destroy resources and infrastructure for no reason. Stop burning everything down, goddammit. This is not the Inner Sphere where they just nuke a whole planet because there might be a scientist on it. And this was basically exactly that. The Wolverines baited their enemy with light and highly accurate artillery fire and shitposting, then obliterated them in the open desert without inflicting any damage or casualties to the cities and civilians and infrastructure behind them. This was a masterstroke. Sarah McEvedy understood her enemy perfectly and played them like a fiddle. This should have been celebrated, but because Nicholas Kerensky is a brain-damaged piss baby with a god complex, he got really mad and started ranting at them openly in the middle of the invasion for not fighting the right way. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I followed the letter of your laws rather than the spirit of your laws. Laws which the ink isn't even dry on yet, that's how new they are. And the spirit of the law is a vague idea that only you understand because of see previous. Suffice to say, this was the first of many coming disagreements that Nicholas would have with Clan Wolverine. In the years following, things settled down a little bit, and the funnier parts will come later, but the clans had to rebuild because some took devastating losses during the invasion, and they also now had a huge number of people they actually needed to feed and support, not just conquer militarily. However, Clan Wolverine was a constant thorn in the other clans' sides, and by thorn in their sides, I mean they were doing things the right way, winning trials of combat, kicking ass, and taking blood names. They just weren't super subservient to Nicholas Kerensky or the Grand Council of the clans in general, because screw you all, if you're strong enough to take it, then it's yours. That's how the clans work, and by God were the Wolverines going to embrace that. Early on, they were some of the best fighters and one of the most well-organized clans, which of course put a huge target on their back, since Nicholas Kerensky must always unambiguously be the bestest boy out there. The breaking point, though, was when the clan council learned of transfers happening within the Wolverine caste system. In an effort to shore up her clan's food supply and build out a more robust and stable industrial base, McEvedy allowed limited movement between the various castes within her clan, allowing warriors who wanted to, or other of the laborer, technician, and scientist class and stuff to move around to where they were better needed. This would have allowed the Wolverines to become pretty much entirely independent, and safely so. As in, they were having good logistics. Now, moving between castes was a big no-no because, something stops greed,
because it simply was. I think that's all the explanation.
Yeah, I think Nicholas just wanted everybody to be below him. He didn't want to be part of the 1%, he wanted to be part of the 1%. So like there's legitimately not like a real reason for this. It's just they believed in eugenics. If you were like 1/4 of a percentage point below qualification for a warrior, clearly that means you were genetically genetically predetermined to be a coal miner or some shit. Like, the whole idea is very, very silly when you actually look into it, but the clans have never been accused of being serious factions. The hilarious part is Nicholas Kerensky, that is, actually repealed this later, and he basically just took what the Wolverines did and then did it himself later, because he is the most insecure and stupid man in the history of history. Saw someone he didn't like have a good idea, proceeded to destroy their entire society, and then was like, wait a minute, what if I just did exactly that? That's a brilliant idea, myself. What a good idea that I totally naturally come up with myself. He's such a loser. Nicholas Kerensky embodies a level of insecurity that's normally reserved for office workers who drive a $150,000 lifted pickup and then only ever commute to their cubicle with them. Like, it is pathetic. Anyways, intercaste mobility was a big no-no, but at the same time, you can make a pretty fair argument in favor of it, because the warrior caste was anywhere from 0.02 to 0.01% of the entire clan. They were not a very large segment of the caste system, like the very tippy top of the pyramid. If one of those warriors that made it into the top was like, look, I really don't feel like fighting, I'm not here for it, I'd much rather go like haul rocks and build houses and stuff. It's a really easy argument in my eyes that they were just straight up never cut out to be in the warrior caste to begin with. And if you flunk the trials in training at any point, they just make you a laborer anyways. So the entire thing that Clan Wolverine was doing is completely defensible because they just skip the step where you have to waste time testing these people. They're like, oh, you self-identify as not being soldier material? Okay, straight to the labor caste with you. And Nicholas was like, no, you have to test them because I made the rules and I said you have to do it, and that's how I want you to do it. You can't just skip the unnecessary parts in the middle. I wrote those, come on.
I think everybody should have had to take those unnecessary parts. Like, I had to take Latin in 6th grade.
There's also the issue, going back to the whole usurp or undermine his authority thing. Sarah McEvedy was, in the most positive way I can possibly say this, like genuine positivity, she was an absolute bitch. She would repeatedly throw shade at the other cons in the Grand Council and verbally spar with anyone at any time. Didn't care who was throwing hands, she was down to throw them back. And my absolute favorite one-liner in the whole setting comes from her, and it was when Nicholas was standing in front of the Grand Council and basically criticizing and chastising her about unclan-like behavior, stating, and I quote, "We are the clans. We stand on our own merits, not those of our ancestors." Because that's like a big thing in the clans. It's meritocracy. But, you know, he's the son of Alexander Kerensky, the guy.
Right message, wrong messenger.
I know, like, you are the guy. Like, what are you talking about? Your dad was him. Like, what? In response to this, Sarah replies with the absolutely eviscerating comeback of, "Except for you." In just a couple words, managed to call him a trust fund baby riding daddy's coattails, and she did it in like 3 words. I love this character so much. It's great. Have you seen the Mandalore video, Mystery of the Druids?
No.
Damn it. Okay, I need to get you the Lowry meme to understand this.
Okay. Oh, speaking of which, I got like 7 million fucking 40K shorts in my YouTube feed the past 2 weeks. So I've ended up watching the whole story of Sakan or something.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. The salamander who tries his absolute hardest to help anybody. Literally anybody, and it just, nope, this is 40K.
Yeah, did you know his last name?
I don't remember his last name, though. I remember seeing it, but I don't remember it.
It was Sakan These Nuts.
I just want you to know, when you die and pass on, you will not be missed.
We're gonna delete all the videos of me in it as soon as I die. There will be no trace of me left.
Your sum total effect on history was simply to be forgotten as one of the nameless nobodies. Fuck you.
I bet you everybody in the fucking comments saw that coming too, except for you.
Yeah, I know. I walked right into that one.
I.
Anyways, if you check Picture Printer, that's the image of Lowry from Mystery of the Druids. And the entire time, all I was thinking of, that's just Sarah McEvedy right there. She's just floating above her chair, 5 feet off the ground, reclined and totally unencumbered by the physical laws of reality. It doesn't matter what your status in life is. She's just so much fucking cooler than you. She's unbound by gravity. It's really funny, man. She just mugs the entirety of the clan council and Kerensky consistently. It's hilarious. It goes even further as well because she's just objectively better than Nicholas in every other conceivable way. Nicholas was always described as being like a little off and borderline sociopathic because, again, you know, brain damage. But he was also butt ugly. Like, you could practically see the evil warping his face, which you need a picture of him, don't you?
I probably seen it before, but it wouldn't hurt. I mean, you're gonna need one for the video anyway. So.
Yeah, I am gonna need one for the video. So he was not a great looking guy. He kind of looked like he was rotting a little bit at any given time. He's not old in this picture either. He's like middle-aged. He's like 40.
Oh yeah. You have sent that picture before.
Yeah, there's something not right about him. Phrenology deniers trying to justify why he isn't ontologically evil, and then I just give them a picture of Nicholas Kerensky. Can't argue with that. Meanwhile, McEvedy was not only... I do need to get a picture of her. I don't think it's ever been posted before.
I don't believe so. Well, it has in the floating above the chair, but
no. That's not an actual picture of her. Yeah. So McEvedy was not only, according to like every account of the time, gorgeous, but a way more competent mech warrior than Nicholas by a mile, and she was commander of the 331st Royal Battle Mech Division, the first fully combined arms unit from the old SLDF, as well as one of the biggest, being significantly over strength. And this was like a super elite unit that garnered walls of medals and battlefield accolades. They stopped the Lyrans from seceding during the height of the Star League. They were the first into the Rimworld's Republic during the reunification war to kill all of the filthy tribals. Hey-ho imperialism. They fought through the entire Star League civil war and even made landfall on Terra alongside almighty Alexander Kerensky to retake Earth from Fat Genghis. And the 331st is a borderline mythical unit in BattleTech that should be right up there besides like the Black Watch or the Avalon Hussars or the Northwind Highlanders and Snords Irregulars and other crazy factions like that. Meanwhile, good old Nick had to lie and... I'm gonna fucking kill you. You played two at once!
I know, did you not hear me say that was the wrong one as soon as I fucking hit it?
No! You don't get to play it again. One. There's no second I'm gonna... Man, I wish I could get away with murder.
Multiple times this episode. No
yeah, I know.
We're like not even halfway through, probably.
If I was locked in a room with Hitler, Stalin, and you, and a gun with 2 bullets, I'd shoot you twice and then keep beating the corpse with the gun. Back on track. Good old allegedly. Nicholas Kerensky, meanwhile, compared to Sarah, had to lie, cheat, and fabricate his test results to pass his own standards for clan mech warriors. And on top of it all, as a last insult, she was also taller than Nicholas. McEvedy mogs Nick in every possible way that matters while being a better leader than him. And I am convinced that despite being one of, if not the best exemplar of the clans, the real reason for the downfall of Clan Wolverine and what happens next was because Nicholas was afraid of them. He could not stomach the idea of people that could outdo him or undermine his dictatorial control of the clans. Especially since, you know, Sarah was also a fierce believer in Alexander the Good Kerensky's vision of peace, unity, and a democratic society, more so than she was a believer in the clans. And as such, over time, Nicholas found more and more things to get on Wolverine's ass about. The whole thing with moving people between castes was only discovered because another clan, Widowmaker, was spying on Wolverine and breaking clan law to do it, and then they ran tattling to Kerensky about it like the duplicitous little snitches they are. Then there was what is pretty much the final straw. a Brian cache, a type of military stockpile created by Alexander Kerensky during the demobilization of the Exodus fleet. A cache that had an enormous number of battle mechs, weapons, ships, and in this case, even nukes. The thing is though, this was all legitimately clan Wolverines. It was a cache of the old 331st Star League equipment, and it was inside recognized Wolverine territory. It was their stuff originally, they're the ones that packed it away, and they rediscovered it, quote-unquote rediscovered, inside of their own territory. It's just their stuff. It's their shit. They own the storage locker they found it in.
I'm gonna need a fact check on that, though. I feel like they may be lying.
No, they're not lying. This is basically pretty much uncontested. It's just that Nicholas Kerensky looked at it and was like, well, I did mix in a little bit of socialism in here, and now it's coming into play because I think you should share all of that with the rest of the clans, so give, while he makes grabby hands at all of the stuff they just found. Now, this cache would have put Wolverine in the position of being pretty much straight up the most powerful clan, and with nukes, nobody would have been able to threaten them with annihilation without also risking it themselves. So, good old Nick probably shit his pants, and with the help from several other duplicitous, dishonorable, cowardly clans, forced Wolverine to give up the weapons cache by challenging them to a trial of possession. All the while, those other clans began preparing for trials and attacks on Clan Wolverine's other holdings, not to win anything of significance, but just to inflict as much damage as possible on them. A punitive war over ego and pride and greed. Which coincidentally, oh look, Nicholas, turns out your system didn't fix any of those things you said it would after all. Who could have seen this coming?
It actually fixed it because he said that it fixed it. It's okay. This is all by design.
It's a real North Korea thing. It works because Supreme Leader said it does, and if you think it doesn't work, it's because you're a traitor and not trying hard enough.
That's it, I'm breaking out the Kim car again.
That stupid three-wheeler thing. Yo, post that in picture printer. That's going in the video. That shit's hilarious.
That is what I'm doing with this and all.
So, of course the Wolverines declared a trial of refusal over this, demanding to face the others in a single fair fight over the weapons cache that was rightfully theirs, and at first it was going pretty well. Wolverine was a bloody strong clan that punched well above its weight, but things turned quickly when it became apparent that the other clans involved were not at all respecting clan rules. They would disregard any honorable combat rules and gang up on Wolverine mech warriors, disregard calls for duels and honorable challenges in favor of blunt force, going so far as to throw away entire stars of mechs just to try and murder McEvedy, and succeeding in murdering her second in command. By this point, it was abundantly clear that the other clans weren't fighting to win, at least the ones that were like in league with Nicholas. They were fighting to annihilate as much of her clan as they possibly could, all with permission of the Supreme Leader. And so they began planning Operation Switchback, Clan Wolverine's ultimate and last gamble if things came to the worst. A return to the inner sphere and total withdrawal from the clans. To this end, McEvedy sent agents to the Norfolk and San Diego boneyards, massive space-based storage yards for the warships, dropships, and jump ships of the Exodus fleet that had been sitting in mothball, reactivating and stealing several before being noticed. One last confrontation took place in the halls of the clan Great Council, where tempers flared and their fate was basically sealed, because it came to light that Nicholas had created something called the Clan Watch. The Clan Watch is essentially like their version of secret intelligence. It's basically like their version of Comstar. Monitor communications, secret, clandestine operations, wet work, all that kind of stuff, basically. Now, the reason that this was the breaking point is because every other clan had been asked to contribute their best members for it, except for Clan Wolverine. Clan Wolverine wasn't even informed of its creation. And so, McEvedy accused everyone else of conspiring to destroy her clan. She was correct, they were. She also said how there was a conspiracy against her from Nicholas. She was correct, there was. She also said how creations like the Clan Watch, essentially clan secret intelligence, was a weapon pointed at Wolverine's throat and was an escalation of the ongoing conflicts that the clans had with her. She's correct, it was. And then, as a final statement, she stated that Nicholas was a bitch. And once again, she was correct. He was. Then, in front of everyone, after a very long screaming match and many arguments, she stated that Clan Wolverine no longer recognized the leadership or authority of Nicholas Kerensky, was no longer a member of the clan council, and did not recognize their authority either, storming out with a final provocation that anyone who wanted to was free to catch these hands, and then she just left, nobody being able to stop her. Once again, simply in a league beyond everybody else at the time. And of course, because the clanners, at least the ones that were all loyal to Nicholas, have a massive soup can-sized hole in their heads, they would take her up on that offer, and it would go terribly for them. The opening moves were from the other clanners, as a massive multi-clan task force was sent to commandeer the weapons and technology within the Wolverines' Brian cache. Even after winning the last trial, they still hadn't managed to get much of what they wanted out of it, because lol, Lamau, you suck. And unlike last time, this time, Clan Wolverine was not bogged down by the rules of the clan trial and all of these customs, so the Wolverines beat their ass, pushing them back and seriously bloodying this multi-clan task force of loyalists. Unfortunately, outside of Clan Wolverine, there was no such thing as a good clanner, and members of Clan Widowmaker had secretly stolen a nuclear warhead, planting it inside the Wolverines' capital city of New Hope, and detonating it when the clanner forces were approaching the city. They then, immediately, with no hesitation and seemingly no surprise, not suspicious at all, jumped up and were like, see? Look, they're evil, they're nuking their own people, they're clearly the bad guys, they're insane. We shouldn't absorb them, this shouldn't be like a punitive campaign, we should just kill them all, because that's a wonderfully reasonable escalation. Gotta love to see it. So this nuclear false flag convinced Nicholas, probably didn't have to convince him very much, to elevate this dispute from an absorption of Clan Wolverine into an annihilation, where they would be fighting to exterminate every single member of the clan, from highest warrior to lowest servant. I hate Widowmaker so much. The more I read about them, the more I was just like, wow, these are the worst human beings alive. The Grima Wormtongue of BattleTech. Absolutely worthless schemers and ingrate rats. I'm so glad that they got annihilated later on.
When do we get a video on that?
Probably never, because the sum total of their clan history is, hey, we exist, we suck, we're terrible people, we did a nuclear false flag, oh no, we got caught lying about it, oh, we got exterminated, damn. And there you go, that was the Widowmaker video right there.
There it is, we have a video and a video.
Videoception, there you go. That's the sum total of it.
This is also y'all's video for next week. We hope you enjoyed. Take care. Stay tuned for the remainder of this video.
Absolutely. Yep, totally. During the fighting, another nuclear false flag was going to be attempted, where an aerospace fighter carrying a nuke was to drop it over another Wolverine city. Instead, and very deservedly, it got shot down, going so far off course that it crashed into and detonated in the Snow Raven capital city of Dun. They also blame this on Wolverine, but honestly it's really, really funny to me that they tried to nuke their enemy again and failed so badly that they accidentally dropped the sun on their own house. It is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, seriously. Nobody could ever possibly be that stupid, right?
There could be.
All of this fighting and these nuclear strikes accelerated Operation Switchback. Wolverine loaded up everyone and everything they could onto transports, leaving behind whatever they couldn't manage and setting off for the inner sphere as quickly as they could. Unfortunately, they did have to leave a lot of their people behind, primarily being the people originally conquered by the clans when they returned to the Pentagon worlds, which is such a feels bad moment. Like, these people survived the Great Exodus, they survived Desert Hellhole after the Great Exodus when they settled. They survived being beaten down by infighting and civil wars, survived the clans invading them, got nuked alongside the regular destruction that warfare brings. Then they got subjected to the first trial of annihilation, where the overwhelming majority of them were either executed or chemically sterilized and, like, basically enslaved. I was like, these poor people, man. What did the Sand Empire do to deserve this fate? Poor hot Finland. They really got screwed. The evacuating Wolverines did manage to get a massive head start over the rest of the clans because they weren't really prepared for Clan Wolverine to have so many warships and stuff just ready to go, and the rest of the clans had to spend and waste time, I guess, reactivating a lot of their own naval assets. The Wolverines made it almost 40 jumps down the approximate course of the Exodus Road before they were eventually discovered. Because in the orbit of a jungle world named Barbados, the Wolverine fleet was found and all but annihilated as they had been stranded by jump drive failure that they were rushing to repair at the time of combat.
They really just don't have any original naming schemes here, do they?
No, this is BattleTech, and these are the clans. Come on.
I'm not even referring to just the clan names, to the cities and stuff.
I mean, some of them were pretty cool. I think Dara Dun is a pretty cool name.
Oh, yeah. Well, like half of them, I guess.
Some of them are okay, some of them are awful.
The world of Barbados. Norfolk,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's important to remember this is like the SLDF still. A lot of the naming conventions from the SLDF came from Earth. Like, the 331st used the symbol of Minnesota, the state, as like the background of their unit. So it was quite common to have a lot of SLDF units and structures and bases and stuff all be named after locations on Earth. I don't know why they did it like that, but they did.
The writers being lazy is
Yeah, probably. Anyways, the battle in orbit was short and very one-sided, and the ground battle to follow would be similar. Though there are some very strange inconsistencies, and these have led me to believe that almost everything in there in the canon sources is either wrong, a lie, or spoken by an unreliable narrator, because we know large portions of the Wolverines made it back to the Inner Sphere under a different name. We also know that according to census data taken after the battle, most of the second-line warriors and civilians were unaccounted for alongside multiple missing warships. To top it all off, the remaining equipment in the Brian cache all the way back on the homeworlds, it was gone. It was dead empty. They had taken everything, and almost none of it was accounted for in the coming ground battle on Barbados. So despite how convincingly clan history says they annihilated Clan Wolverine, there is a lot of evidence, direct and circumstantial, that it wasn't a few odd ships, the way Nicholas tells it, that escaped from that battle. It was like the majority of the Wolverines' escape fleet. I also have a conspiracy theory. So the rest of the clan cons at this time let the Wolverines go and then just lied about it. Because during the ground battle, where the clans landed en masse to destroy the Wolverines that were planet-side, the treason of the Widowmaker Khan was unveiled, okay? They revealed that it was a false flag. They found out the nuke was launched by them, and in turn, they stopped the larger battle long enough for the Wolverines to murder that guy on the spot. They just let them kill him in revenge. Later on, when Widowmaker was functionally obliterated out of the setting, unexpected Widowmaker mech warriors, against orders, broke into an honor duel during the ongoing trial of absorption and cheated. Before anyone could figure out what was going on, Nicholas entered the fray to intervene and stop the fight and enforce clan law, only to catch a Gauss rifle slug straight through the cockpit and die. So here's my conspiracy theory. The clans knew Nicholas was full of shit, they knew he was a dictator and didn't like him, and they were suspicious of his feud with the Wolverines, but they went along with it because of the false flag nuke and the generally other abrasive stuff of Clan Wolverine and the fact that the Wolverines didn't really have any friends. When they learned that it was a false flag, they were convinced that Nicholas had approved of it, just like he tacitly approved of spying on Clan Wolverine against his own clan rules and cutting them out of the formation of the Clan Watch. In the battle, they let the Wolverine units kill Widowmaker leadership in revenge, and then chalked up the battle as won, and let the remaining Wolverines go. There is no way that the other clan cons didn't know. It would have been painfully obvious that what they found was a foraging party stopped along a jungle world, and that these guys only made up a fraction of the actual missing Wolverines. Like, it was obvious this wasn't the main force. But they chose to lie to Nicholas, and then later killed him and Clan Widowmaker for the crimes they committed by staging an interruption in the trial that Nicholas was overseeing. And then when he went down to, like, unfuck this mess, they just killed him. I also think it's supported by how Widowmaker, as a clan, was swearing up and down that they had nothing to do with Nicholas's death, that it was an accident, or that the people who engaged in the interruption were acting without orders or whatever. They maintained right up until they were executed that it wasn't them, wasn't their fault, and the rest of the clans were just like, yeah, no witnesses, and killed them all. Also, McEvedy didn't die. She was officially captured, brutally injured and burned after a battle, and yet somehow she disappeared from a clan holding cell, and her quote-unquote grave isn't just empty, it's fresh soil. They never even dug a grave to begin with. They just put up a headstone somewhere random and said she died. So yeah, there's size tinfoil conspiracy. The Wolverines were allowed to flee by the other clan cons. Nicholas got his pound of flesh from like a foraging scouting detachment, and the rest of the clans removed the tyrant and the real culprit of the nuclear strikes in one fell swoop afterwards, hiding everything behind Nicholas's own mandate to rewrite history afterwards.
It seems solid.
Yeah, there's nothing that actually supports this like directly. This is me reaching. This is the ultimate reach based off circumstantial evidence and just other random stuff. So yeah, feel free to call me out in the comments, but like,
please do. More engagement.
Yeah, I have my tinfoil hat on. None of your responses will get to me. I'm shielded from your telepathic attacks now. And that brings us to the ultimate fate of the Wolverines. They did not keep their name, and while there are many different theories about it, only one of them is correct. Some of them are really, really funny. Some of them say that the Wolverines are out there fighting aliens, like on the spinward side of the inner sphere, which is total garbage. There are no aliens in BattleTech. Stop bringing up the bird people. They're not real. They can't hurt you. Some of the other ones say that they basically just re-merged in with Comstar once they returned to the inner sphere and then would try to slowly take Comstar over. This is also kind of ridiculous and stupid. Some of them say that they ended up getting annihilated after all and it was just a few odd survivors, but what actually happened was the Minnesota tribe. Now, after Clan Wolverine made it back to the inner sphere, they had changed all of the insignia, names, and all of that from Clan Wolverine back to the original symbols of the 331st Star League division. Proof of this is relatively sparse, but extremely definitive. All of a sudden, lining up with the time frame of them returning to the inner sphere, the Draconis Combine had a bunch of strange mercenary, pirate / tribal units show up on their border, and they were painted in SLDF regular colors, they used SLDF tactics, and they had extremely competent and advanced technology with them. They basically fought and raided their way across the Draconis Combine, approaching from the deep periphery, before eventually moving towards the Davians, then out towards the Rimworld's Republic, and then out into unknown space on the general left-hand side of the inner sphere. But we do know beyond any shadow of a doubt that this is what happened to Clan Wolverine, because not only is it the most supported, and not only does it have the most evidence for it, but completely ruining the mystery. One of the writers that contributed to this basically came out and said, yeah, this is what happens. It's canon.
No, why would he do that?
I don't know. Somebody asked him on a panel, they're like, hey, is the Minnesota tribe Clan Wolverine? Like, did Clan Wolverine actually get annihilated? And he was like, nah, they mostly managed to escape. The Minnesota tribe is Clan Wolverine, and then they just kind of noped out of the setting, and they haven't done anything plot relevant since. Which I think does kind of ruin the mystery a little bit, because there are a lot of really, really funny ones out there. The blood is the theory that was from the Comstar one, where they try and tie it into the Word of Blake, where some of the theories in universe are like, yeah, the Clan Wolverine remnants got back to the inner sphere, merged with Comstar, and then created a secret sect within Comstar called the Blood. And their whole thing was to slowly take over Comstar and then use all of those resources to take over the inner sphere and rebuild the Star League. And it's like that, it's It's just the word of Blake. They're just describing the word of Blake, but they're throwing in some weird clan conspiracy crap there to try and justify it afterwards. Then you have stuff like the Fidelis, which was an elite unit of clanners that were fighting for the Republic of the Sphere. People thought that they were Clan Wolverine at first, and there was a lot of support for this initially, but no, as it turns out, they were from an entirely different annihilated clan. They were the remnants of Clan Smoke Jaguar that didn't get completely bodied.
So they didn't all get smoked.
Well, the overwhelming majority of them did. The people who made up the Fidelis were like the guys who ran away or surrendered or like escaped in the inner sphere but couldn't make it back to the clan homeworlds. So they're like the dregs of Clan Smoke Jaguar, but they did manage to rebuild eventually. You've got stuff like the Clave. This is from the Dark Age in BattleTech, and there's very little, if anything, that is super confirmed or very obvious here. This is a very generic conspiracy theory about it, where they're just like, hey, the Clave is a group of enigmatic, reserved, and really, really dangerous mech warriors. The reality is they're not Clan Wolverine either. They were just a bunch of really, really dangerous mech warriors that were operating during the Dark Age, like many other mercenary or militant groups. The conspiracy theories for the Minnesota tribe, though, continue even deeper, and they are absolutely wild, dude. Some of these are insane. One of them is that Clan Wolverine became the protectors of humanity, and the Minnesota tribe, post-clan invasion, YOLO'd out into the far unknown regions to go protect humanity from alien invasion, and they're currently out there fighting aliens or some shit.
The aliens that made a return. It's the bird people again.
Yeah, somehow the bird people have returned again. There's a bunch of theories where people in the inner sphere are just like, nah, Clan Wolverine's just not real. They don't exist at all. It's all a hoax. They're like, the clans don't even refer to Wolverine by name. They call them the unnamed clan. So people in the inner sphere are like, yeah, I'm just not gonna believe you. That could be any clan. They've annihilated other clans, surely. I don't believe you. And they're just like, this one is like more of a Draconis Combine thing, because the Combine is like, yeah, Comstar pulled the wool over our eyes, and it was actually Comstar that was attacking the Draconis Combine and like raiding through their territory as they moved across the inner sphere. So there's a bunch of people that are like, yeah, the Wolverines were never real, idiot, obviously. There are people who are like, they were a super secret, ultra early recon mission from the clans preparing for the clan invasion. And it's like, yeah, but the Minnesota tribe was like 200 years too early for that. So it's like, what information could they have gotten that would have been relevant?
It was that early. They were scouting that early. Leave them alone.
Yeah, my personal favorite one is that there's a Battlestar Galactica thing going on here where all of this has happened before and all of it will happen again. Wagon Train to the Stars, and they're like, in reality, the Minnesota tribe, once they got back to the inner sphere, they turned around again once they got to another region of unknown space, and then they went even further out beyond the clans, and then they came back to invade the clans as even more hyper advanced soldiers, and they did a clan invasion on the clans, which is absurd. It is insane. I'm counter-invading your invasion with another invasion in response to your original invasion of my territory. It's like, what? It's such a stupid rumor. And the whole reason for this is because the Wars of Reaving, where the clans fought their giant civil war back in the homeworld, during the Wars of Reaving, they got basically completely cut off from the inner sphere, so nobody in the inner sphere knew what was happening. They were basically like, that's weird. The clan homeworlds are now completely dead silent. And that's where that rumor comes from. People were like, oh, what if the Wolverines came back with like even more hyper advanced mechs and they're kicking everybody's ass back in the homeworlds? It's very dumb. It's very, very silly. A lot of the rumors around it are hilarious, and anybody who's watching, I highly recommend you go dig into them. They are a great read if you just want to listen to to really, really stupid in-universe conspiracy theories. It's great. But for the most part, the actual history is quite boring. We know for a fact that the majority of Clan Wolverine did survive their escape to the inner sphere. They renamed themselves the Minnesota tribe. They raided and traveled across the inner sphere rather nomadically for quite some time, moving from the north of the Draconis Combine down to near the border with the Davians, then through the Outworlds Alliance, and then into uncharted space, spinward of the inner sphere. And then their story basically just ends. They functionally drop off off the face of the universe. Maybe they'll come back at some point in the future. That brings us pretty much to the end of the video, though. Do you have anything else you want to ask or anything else you want to say before we do the outro?
I would like to let the community know that we'll be starting Mass Effect again here in a little bit, probably like in the next 2 weeks. After we have stopped playing the first game or the second game, like an hour and a half into it. That is on the agenda for me to do again. So we might get another Mass Effect video at some point in time. I'll put that in the pipeline or something.
That was an amazing word salad where you said a whole lot.
Just say nothing. Yes.
You promised very little and guaranteed nothing.
Hey, you said if I wanted to say anything, I was telling them something.
Right.
I thought they would like to know that I'm playing Mass Effect again, and we're actually gonna do side quests this time instead of ripping just the main story. And I might meet other aliens that are in fact in the first game, but were never in the main story.
Oh, all right. Well, that's pretty much the end of the video. If you made it all the way here, you are clearly the target audience, or you found the content interesting, so why not leave a like, subscribe, comment down below, engage with the video, ring the bell, all of that good stuff to help us out against the YouTube algorithm. Engagement is surprisingly valuable. If you're feeling more generous, however, and you want to support Sci financially by donating to our Staying Alive fund, you can always check out our channel memberships. You'll get videos a day or two early, occasionally get cut content and custom videos just for members, and occasionally get to vote on future content, like what gets made and stuff. If not, and you just want to hang out with a fellow community of Tubro nerds, we do have a Discord, where we talk about nerd stuff, generally shoot the shit, occasionally do game nights, and all around drown in nerd culture. To all the people already supporting the channel, a huge thanks to the coffee vendors, without whom my war on sleep would have fallen through long ago. Thanks to your great efforts, I one day will never sleep again. To the food merchants, ensuring that my co-host is ever fed and constantly present for any and all videos, a huge thanks to you guys as well. Without you, starvation probably would have killed us both long ago. With a special thanks to the arms dealers. You guys go above and beyond supporting the channel by supplying all of the weapons, tools, and toys seen in today's video for hands-on testing. Unfortunately, this time around, you have put me in a bit of a pickle, because the remnants of Clan Wolverine did not like being abducted and then shipped into my garage. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, and they are very violent. Please help. And with that, I have nothing else to say. I must go deal with the impending security breach coming from my garage. Goodbye.